We've taken a turn into breakdown. That's a scary word. But I promise you, it's a higher vibration than sleepwalking. Vulnerability is key to healing. It's key to healing. And here's the thing about breakdown. You're gonna get emotional. You're gonna get emotional. You're gonna get emotional in a way that doesn't make sense. You're gonna have emotions that are not in real time because you're going to be feeling a lot of shit that has been bottled up. Breakdown for me is when you're finally sick of it. You're finally at that point where I've had it. I'm done. I'm sick of my own shit. I'm sick of your shit. I'm sick of shit. I'm sick of it. I'm done. I'm at my max. See, breakdown is the realization that things aren't working. It's the realization that you're not happy. It's the realization that pain is present where maybe it doesn't have to be. Breakdown to me feels like anger. And there's two different ways to process anger. In an unhealthy way and a healthy way. Now, we have a journey of the soul and self in our life, right? Like a big journey of the soul in who we are. And then we have moments where we have change that happens in our life. And we go through a journey of the soul and the self. Or maybe we're going back to reflect on a healing time. If you listen to Journey of the Soul album, audio story, I love my opening line on this one. Perfection is bullshit. See, I was somebody that strived to be perfect. I never wanted to get in trouble at school, always wanted perfect grades. I wanted to be the perfect Christian in school and in church and, all of these things. I was doing everything right so that I could make it to this glorified day one day. But what happened was I kind of woke up one day angry. Because I've been doing everything perfect and it doesn't matter. Perfect people aren't happy. And there's a lot of people who aren't perfect that are happy. And it didn't make sense to me. In my life, toxic people are getting away with murder. And they're fine. And I'm sitting here trying to be perfect and I'm not. So I went through a very unhealthy way of anger, where I was angry at the world, I was angry at God, I was angry at anything. And that anger led me down a very dark, what I call 3-month period of my life. But it was a very dark time in life. It was my rebellion. It was my, okay, so perfection isn't the answer, so let me do everything opposite. Let me just fuck it up. Opposite is never the answer. You'll hear us say that time and time again. Opposite is never the answer. And it wasn't in my story either. I found a lot of devastation in those moments. But there's also a different kind of anger, a righteous anger, an anger where you start to change. You see, I've really grown to love anger. When you feel sorry for yourself, when you're a victim, when the world is doing everything against you, you don't change. You vent. Venting is great. We all have times. I've been a victim. I've been upset. I've had times like this. It's fine. But we don't want to stay there because it's exhausting to stay there. It's the hamster wheel. It's the I'm not willing to face anything and I'm going to keep running and running and running and running and running and never go anywhere. Anger is when you step off that wheel. So it's actually a really beautiful vibration. Anger, in a healthy way, creates change. When you finally had enough, you leave. When you finally had enough, you say no. When you finally had enough, change happens. Pain is necessary for growth, but suffering is optional. So when we're processing the breakdown phase, Mom and I were talking about this yesterday in the car. It's like this punishment in perfection that can happen. It's when you wake up and you go, oh, I hate my body. So let me create this routine where I get up at 4 a.m. and I'm running 6 miles before the sun even gets up. Let me not eat anything. Let me restrict calories. Let me just hate on myself and punish myself so I can get a result. You see, it's a different kind of perfection here. It's a perfection where you hate yourself and you're angry at yourself for being here. Even if you're angry at everyone else. At the core, it's a mirror. And you're sick and tired of you. The answer here is not to punish yourself. The answer here is to feel what you need to. Right? If love herself were to walk into the room, she would tell you it's okay to be angry with her. It's okay. Because getting angry creates movement. And when you get angry at love, this really weird thing happens where you start to release. And then you get to the core. And you go, oh, okay. I get it. I get it. I'm sick of it. Here in Breakdown, you want to feel, most importantly. You got to release it. When you finally had enough, if you think about it in sleepwalking, we're avoiding feeling. Because if I have a feeling about that, I have to do something about that, and I can't do something about that, so let me just fall back asleep. When you wake up into breakdown. You don't wake up into awakening. That's the phase after breakdown. Because you can't really see the truth until you release all of the emotion. If you see the truth with unresolved emotion, it will be too much. Well, it'll be too much. This is where, when people are on the healing journey and they open their eyes and see everything with all of the unresolved emotion, they shut down. And there's such a slim chance that they'll ever want to try to heal again. There's such a huge belief that happens when we open up and we try and it's too much and we shut down. Many of you watching this video have experienced this. You've tried to heal. You've tried to see the truth. It's been too much, which is probably why you're afraid to heal. It's hard to look in the mirror when you hate the reflection you see. When you are expressing emotion in the thick of it, feeling it so strongly, the last thing you want to do is think. Is to think. When you're releasing and you're in that moment, the thing that sucks is that you have to articulate how you feel. It is so hard to do that when you are in breakdown. You don't need to be articulate in this phase, but you have to feel it all. What are you sick of? Why? What got you here? Feel it. Get angry, get upset, fight, get sad, whatever emotion you have been pushing down. But here's the thing, in breakdown, there's this really beautiful moment. And when you have this moment, you are ready for awakening. This moment cannot be scheduled. This moment will hit you like a ton of bricks. This moment will be so powerful. You will forever remember it. As the moment you decided to change. The bathroom floor moment. That's what we call it here. Now, I myself have had a literal bathroom floor moment. Going back to my audio story, in my rebellion breakdown, there was this moment. I'd been partying all weekend, and there was this moment where I was upstairs. I remember it so clearly because that's what happens with bathroom floor moments. I was washing my hands, just going about my business, and I look up. And I remember staring at myself. I remember having a moment where I almost couldn't feel which one was me. One of those out of body, out of moment experiences. And I was looking at myself, and I hated what I saw because I didn't recognize myself. All of a sudden, all of this anger is building. And I'm in the bathroom in some mansion in the forest, locking the door, having my breakdown. My breakdown wasn't all the things that I was angry about that weekend or that week or what had happened at my job. My breakdown moment was I was angry at God. And I remember looking at myself and being angry that I had brought myself here. Everything that I had worked my whole life to not do. And I was angry that I wasn't happy still. So perfection isn't the answer, and neither is totally fuck it up. So then what? And I remember looking into my reflection and thinking and believing that I have no purpose here in the world. I genuinely believed that. Why am I even here? I remember having thoughts like, why am I here in this bathroom having this moment? I remember thinking about my uncle who died at 19 in a terrible, terrible car accident. And I remember thinking he would have had such a better life than me. He would have done more. He would have done something great. How come I'm here? I remember just yelling. I remember talking to whoever was listening and my reflection and said, if there's anything out there that can hear me, I don't know if I believe in you. Pretty sure I hate you. But this isn't working anymore. And I need some help. I remember falling to my knees. The type of grief that makes you moan. I fell to my knees on that floor and I cried it out. Cried it out. I felt so worthless. Didn't know if anyone was listening or if anyone was even there. But I felt alone. There was this little tiny spark. There was a spark still. Even if I wasn't totally convinced, I somehow still believed that something was listening. I still believed in the hope of maybe. And I remember talking to what I now refer to as love. I talked to her and I said, if you are real, I need you. And if you are real, I will change. And if you are real, I know there is a purpose for me. I walked out of that bathroom changed. The bathroom floor moment is where you let it out until there is nothing left. to surrender. It's when you finally stop taking action and trigger, and you're finally willing to see the truth. Something else happened in my bathroom floor moment. I walked out of the bathroom and I made a phone call. And I made a phone call that no parent ever wants to get, and yet every parent wants to get. Because you make that phone call when you're not totally sober. You know what I mean? I remember calling my mom, and I knew that calling my mom meant change. Because my mom knows things. There was no hiding anything from my mom. She could tell when I was trying to lie. I'm terrible at lying. She can feel me. And I made that phone call. And I said, there's something I need to tell you. No, I'm not pregnant. But I have gotten myself to a place I never thought I'd be. The next morning, I woke up and it was as if the whole house had changed. She told me it's time to come home. It's time to come home. And I did. The next morning, I packed up my life and went home. No parent wants to know their kid is suffering and turning to drugs. No parent wants to know that. But every parent wants their kid to come home and choose to come home when they find that out. And I did. And I changed. But you see, for me, drugs weren't the problem. In here was. And in here. I was carrying deep pain. And no one really knew. Because pain is one of those things that we can't see. You never know what someone is experiencing, which is why kindness is so important. We're all healing from something, which is why vulnerability is so important, because pain and suffering can be invincible. You show up to work. Hi! Oh, you had a great weekend? Me too. Oh, that's wonderful. Yay. Okay, great job, Susan. Okay, yeah, I'll see you later. Okay, yeah. It's in here. It's in here. Vulnerability takes off the mask. When you become vulnerable in your emotions, other people want to take their mask off too. And the only way to feel and feel in a group is to be authentic, vulnerable. When you are authentic and vulnerable, it gives permission. It lets you know, oh, I'm not alone. The thing that used to irk me the most people assumed that I am wealthy, that I'm happy, that I'm perfect. All of these things used to irk me. But I was never any of those things. It made me feel like, wow, so I can't fit in with all the wealthy, perfect people, because I'm not. But now I also can't fit in with all the other people either. I felt isolated. I felt alone. No one understood me. I didn't have anyone that could understand really what I was experiencing. But I bet you, if I had asked a few people, I probably wouldn't have felt so alone. Because emotional pain, we can't see. So this week, we're going to take the masks off. Ooh. Extra credit bonus points for a bathroom floor moment. Now, I can't assign that as homework because you can't schedule it. But maybe when you start to get angry, it'll come up naturally. And it will. It will. Maybe not this week. Maybe next week. Maybe next month. Maybe next year. Depends on when you're ready for it. When you finally had enough, you're done suffering. And you're ready to face that pain. So in breakdown, it's messy. It's emotional. It's chaotic. It's unpredictable. It's heavy. It's emotional. But I want you to share vulnerably. You can post in our Cozy Connection Cafe here in the course. You can post in the Facebook group. You can share with someone in your life. But in order to heal, we must feel seen, heard, and valued. And in the breakdown, that means letting out your real emotion. Which, may I remind you, is not always truth. In my breakdown, I believed I had no purpose. You see, how old was I? 18? 19? 19-year-old me could see almost 35-year-old me walking in the room. I would judge myself the same way. Wow. She's wealthy. She's perfect. And she has nothing going on in her life. But I would sit down because I would see and feel that pain. I don't look down in the breakdown. I sit down because here's the truth today. I admire her so much. She feels in this moment like a total failure, a total loser, a nobody. I look at her in awe. Because how many people take more than 3 months to figure that shit out? How many people don't change? How many people don't get up? How many people heal? How many people make it their life mission to sit down here? She is brave. She's courageous. And it is only by the act of her choice that I am here today. Without that moment of breakdown, life would have been very different for me. The thing we need the most in breakdown is grace. I wouldn't sit down and say, hey, this really isn't going to get you anywhere. I also wouldn't sit down and say, hey, it's okay. Everybody goes through this. You're okay. It's not that big of a deal. No. I would sit down and say, you are going to fight this. You are going to get over this. You have a greatness inside of you that if you only knew, you would be running out that door. You aren't going to feel loneliness for the rest of your life. I promise you. And you're doing the best you can with what you know today. But I promise you, if you knew everything I knew today, you would be so relieved. And you're going to have to take this journey. You're going to have to pick yourself up off this bathroom floor. But you will. And that's what I'm telling you today. There is no pain, no emotion, too much. There is nothing that you could have done, said, wished, nothing that is too much to get off the bathroom floor. You will. You will pick yourself up. You will change. You will keep moving. You will heal. If you want to. You don't have to be all in. You don't have to be alignment. That's not how it happens, but that's how people think it happens. Oh, I'm gonna have my bathroom floor moment and then I'm aligned and life's good now. No, it's not. But it is through the lens that you are choosing to go look at the truth. Breakdown. We need grace so that we don't succumb to the perfect punishment. She doesn't need to be punished into perfection. That's what brought her here. She needs grace. And so do you. You see, there's a story that you need to hear and rewrite within yourself. For me, I'd be like, kid, yes, you're an adult and I know you feel like you're 40, but you're 19 years old. It's like the time when I was in grade school and thought, oh, there's no love out there. It's taking forever. Yeah, it is going to take forever. You're in 4th grade. It's going to be a long time. Buckle up. But it doesn't mean that it isn't coming. It's just not the time. Maybe you need to hear that, hey, it is tough being a single mom. Maybe you need to hear, hey, it is really hard doing everything that you did alone. Or hey, you have that relationship in your life, because imagine if you didn't have the monetary support. You need to have grace. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we're all looking for. And I don't want you to view God or love or whatever it is out there as this judgment. Because at the end of the day, it's how we view ourselves. No one is going to come in and save you from you. No one. You have to choose you. And in that moment of breakdown, you don't get to the you until you let out the emotion. I often say, you don't have to go to Europe to find yourself. You're here. You just might need to uncover yourself. It's all the emotion and beliefs and conditioning and everything we're working on here. So, in your moment where you are today, in your healing journey, what you are having a breakdown about, be authentic, be vulnerable, and whatever thought you're having, like, I don't have a purpose, get it out. They're not truth. Just get it out, share it, but also take it a step further. And in your share, after you get out the emotion, I want you to turn it around at the end with a story of grace. How can you show grace to yourself? And I want you to share that too, because we don't have very many examples of people who show grace to themselves. So we'll create that here. Breakdown! Again, bonus points if you do have the bathroom floor moment, because we celebrate that here, okay? We celebrate that. Maybe for you it'll be in the car, screaming into the abyss. Maybe it will be when you go to the ocean or a road trip, or whatever it is. But the bathroom floor moment and breakdown is when you get it all out. And enough is enough. And you're ready to wake up the next morning and take a step towards truth. The real truth. The awakening that's coming next. The awakening is the enlightenment. So, spoilers. Awakening will be the truth. But get the emotion out so that you can hear the truth. The truth as it is. Not the truth covered with all of your shit. Because it won't be truth then. It'll be your perception of truth. Breakdown is breaking away everything you've built around truth so that you can see the real truth. All right, you guys. I love you. You're doing great. Deep breath. Remember, anger can be so healthy. It can be one of the most beautiful moments that you'll ever have in this life. There is beauty in the breakdown. You're loved.